Hi, I'm David with EV World News, where we talk about electric vehicles, clean energy, and the stock markets. And I am back today on a Wednesday with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
Fine, thank you. As you pointed out earlier, I decided to get rid of the goatee after having that for many years, and I'm now clean shaven.
There
So
we go. There we go. And just a different
no,
look.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yesterday I was. We didn't do the podcast because I attended the Omaha Airport Authority board meeting, which was interesting, and they are, we are under like a number of different airports around the country are involved in major expansion and remodeling, and so we got to see kind of the status of that. I am a member of the local Experimental Aircraft Association chapter, and we've been approached to maybe explore hanging a vintage airplane from maybe from the ceiling of the new terminal or somewhere in the concourse area. And so we were exploring that possibility, and that's why I wasn't here yesterday. That's why we skipped it, so I could do some research at Omaha's fantastic new library. I don't know if you've been down to that the new library down on 72nd and Dodge, but that is awesome. They've got a retrieval system that takes you call the book you want, and this thing goes into this library of that's all stored within a how is this anyway within a system where it goes and it grabs the books you want and delivers them to you. It just if you want to learn how to do all kinds of things from laser printing to 3D printing, they've got all that equipment there. It's incredible. So well done, Omaha. I'm proud of you.
Owen has an interesting question here. How much water do you figure we waste on shaving versus AI? Well, that's definitely a question for AI to determine, seeing how much water we use for shaving versus, anyways,
Okay, whatever.
shaving with the tap running can use 1,200 to 2,500 times more water than a single
I
AI
do
query.
not. I do not have the tap running. I fill the thing with about a half gallon of hot water, and I use that. And anyway, I do not use running water when I shave.
Yeah,
So
a single AI prompt uses about a tablespoon of water.
that's okay. All right. Well, that's it. That whole AI thing is really a fascinating. We're getting all of the reactions from the public and political moves on that. I'm not quite sure what to make of that. I mean, it's important. I'm happy that we have it. It makes some respects my job easier. But yeah, there
Yeah,
are
well,
there are
here's a helpful infographic of water used shaving on the right versus used in an AI. Now, if you're depending on how many times you're shaving a week, this is if you're shaving 3 times a week. If you shaved 7 times a week, it doesn't really.
nah,
If you
maybe
only
maybe
shaved one time a
maybe
week, might be a little
maybe
better.
maybe 2 or 3 times a week at most.
Yeah, and this is assuming you're using 10 prompts a day and only shaving 1 time per week.
Yeah,
This is your water usage. So I think AI is off the hook for that one. Yeah. So
probably. Yeah.
yeah. So let's not make it a habit to start shaving again. Okay.
And you see, we all become what's the group the band that had the long
ZZ Top.
yeah ZZ Top the long we all become
Yeah.
ZZ Tops, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, being clean shaven, it uses more water than AI. So anybody who's making fun of AI, you better have a beard. So, anyways, all right. Germany hits a historic milestone. Germany's
Oh,
electric vehicles overtake gas and diesel for the first time. 84,057 battery electric vehicles sold in Germany in June 26, up 78% year over year. Now,
mm-hmm.
what was it, 2, 3 years ago? They took away all the EV incentives.
Well, almost. I found out there are actually several incentives that are still in place, but
Hmm.
they're nothing like what we had over here with the, $7,500 and all that kind of thing. There are a few still in place, but they're really modest.
Yeah, it was the first time that it's passed up gasoline and diesel, and Germany is the birthplace of the automobile.
Yeah.
So,
And
that's
the
pretty big
interesting
deal.
thing is that it's that the number is pure electric. This is
Mhm.
not combining electrics and hybrids or plug-in hybrids. This is pure battery electrics.
So the top model, the Model
Of
Y
course,
by Tesla,
Model Y.
still number one, um, followed by the Volkswagen ID.3 and two Skoda EVs.
Yep.
The Skoda a German brand?
Yeah, Skoda is actually well, I don't know. We used to say Czech. I don't know if I
Okay.
don't since the two countries separate. I don't know what's what. But anyway, they are owned by Volkswagen, and so technically they share, probably engineering and different things like that. But yeah, it's interesting. The way down the list are BMW and Audi and those guys. I mean, it's interesting how that shakes out. But twice as many Model Ys were bought in Germany as the next best one, which is the Volkswagen ID.3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting since Germany invented the car that they've now had EVs pass up gas powered trains.
Yeah,
So,
but that automobile was ran on what? It didn't run on petroleum. It ran on biofuel.
oh, interesting.
It originally ran on biofuel,
Hmm.
and I think it was peanut oil or something crazy
Well,
like that.
it's interesting because in the whatchamacallit, in the waste to energy and the renewable fuels and all of that, they're
Right.
all almost all technologies the Germans created back in like the 1930s and stuff like that.
Well, there was an incentive because Germany had no access to oil.
No.
The whole idea of the original, my theory, the
Hmm.
original, what was the famous train that ran from Germany down to Istanbul? Oh, come on, the Orient Express, right?
Express.
The original purpose of building that train line down into Iraq, which was what the ultimate destination was to bring the oil out of Iraq and bring it up to Germany, to sort of bypass the British control of the Persian Gulf area and the oil in Iran.
Hmm. Hmm. Did not know that. Did not know that. All right, let's see. Let's move on to some Tesla news. Tesla delivers stunning quarter two results, then the stock tanks. You always got to wonder how good news makes things go sideways. Um, Rubber tree moment coming soon. You never know. You never know. Um, oh, hey, Bobby. Yeah, thanks for.
Thank you. Yeah, we've
Uh,
had sort of schedules that didn't quite line up here the last couple of
yeah,
weeks.
so
So
Bill and I have been trying to do our episode on either Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and now I'm doing the Friday show with Mike, or doing Mike's show on Fridays, and but we've had just odd conflicts the last couple of weeks. I was out of town last week, was part of it, and the week before that, Mike was out of town, and we've had some challenges. Bill's been at some political rallies and
hmm
um, other things. So we've all been busy with things. Anyways, Tesla sold 480,000 vehicles in quarter two, beating their Wall Street expectations of 406,000. 80 or 74,000 extra. That's almost like 16% more than expected. Yet the stock dropped 7.5% on the news despite fantastic delivery numbers, the worst single day fall since July of 25. Two consecutive quarters of growth after 2 years of declining sales. recovery driven by Middle East geopolitical tensions, spiking gas prices. Um, it really makes you wonder what actually drove Tesla stock price down. I see people in one of the WhatsApp groups I'm in there, they're constantly sending out little polls to the group. It's like, where do you think the SpaceX price is going to end up in the next few months?
Yeah, that's been a wow, down what are they down 30%, something like that?
Let's see.
SpaceX? Yeah.
So they went live at 135, I think. They're at 121 now, so now they're below IPO price.
Yeah.
They've
Yep.
gone down almost 2% today. Yeah, and Tesla being at 377. I mean, they were in the upper 400s not that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's just hard to kind of speculate. Lucid's number bounces around all the time.
Oh,
But you look here, the only one that's up so far has been Ford. Ford's up a little bit. Nvidia's up a little bit. I guess you just never know.
yeah, that's kind of the going and
Fusion is
coming.
up.
So
I don't know that I've heard anything about Fusion being up. I haven't seen any really spectacular news on Fusion in the last
yeah.
couple of months. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of.
new scales down a tad. Nanonuclear is up a tad.
I like what Nano does. Nano is not one that people talk about much. That they're trying to do a little too much, I think, overall in their theories. But they bought at a discount, or I should say, a fire sale, a bunch of technology from Ultra Safe Nuclear, which had invested hundreds of millions for it, and they spent like $20 million to acquire the technology. There was two technologies. One was their fuels from Ultra Safe, and that was bought by like Standard Nuclear, who went public last week.
Okay.
And I don't know where that ended up. I don't think it actually went too well. Let's see where it went. It went public last week at like $12.50, and now it's down to $9.22. So it hasn't done that well for being out for only middle of the month, I guess.
Okay.
But it just right away it dropped, so it didn't do that great.
So are they a fusion or a fission
So they're fission,
play?
but they're making fuel. They're a fuel
Okay.
maker. So
Okay.
they're taking the uranium, do it. And to me, this would seem like the best place to be invested in. Okay, because whoever wins in the space is going to need fuel, and there's such a huge shortage of fuel. You would think that companies like Standard Nuclear would be the obvious ones to invest in. But we've had a couple of others that I've talked about in the past that they're in the same space. They're really in the fuel space, and they've just not done that well. And so I just never really know what to think. We see that like we're going to move on
Yeah,
to.
no confidence in the technology. I don't think so. I mean, given all of well, I don't know. Is it also a reflection of? I think there's some downward trend in the AI space, and of course, AI is that's what they're looking at as the future of their power source.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's hitting back is that things just aren't moving as quickly as people would like in the nuclear space, which has always been the case.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever
It's
since
always
nuclear
20. It's
became
always
a thing.
25 years off.
Yeah, everything always seems like it's too far in the future.
Yeah.
There was some things that Trump wanted to happen by July 4th. Was it Valor that went critical? So there was a startup that
Yes.
went critical, meaning
Yeah.
they were able to successfully fire up a reactor. And it was the first time a startup has ever successfully fired up a reactor. And I thought that was an interesting space, and they're looking at building smaller reactors, and we'll see where that goes. But it's interesting, yeah. But fusion, just it's one of those things. It's like, can they commercialize it? That's the question. People feel they're going to be able to get to a point where they can commercialize it, and then they're just not quite there yet. Fusion obviously offers if they could scale down fusion into smaller reactors, because like the one at Lawrence Livermore is bigger than a football field. And it's not really so much. It's not a traditional reactor per se. It's like this big thing of lasers shooting and then making the beam smaller and smaller, reflecting the beam until it hits a certain point. It's at 70 million degrees.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
to
Then fire
use,
something and pellet in there of some kind.
yeah, they fire a deuterium and a tritium atom together, and the laser has to hit it precisely to fuse them together, and it creates energy. And
And this on the San Andreas Fault.
yeah, there you go. They're going to light it up. Yeah,
Yeah, because we've had enough, here with what the last couple of weeks, we've had a bunch of earthquake swarms. From out in there was one just yesterday out around Trinidad Tobago again, and then there was another one off the western coast of Guatemala, I think.
yeah. One of the things kind of funny when you hear some of the ideas in technology, you hear about molten salt, thorium, and all these other things as
Right.
coolant for reactors, and these things are solids to you and I normally, but they're running so hot in these things that they technically everything could be a liquid if it's
They're
heated up
liquid,
enough, right?
yeah.
And even in the fusion case, the surrounding concrete cools the reactor too fast. Okay, it's really kind of funny because you really have to have it get to that 70 million degree thing
And
to make the
stay
reactor
there.
work. Well, it
Yeah,
doesn't stay there for long. It's like a tenth of a second,
yeah.
but everything around it cools it off. It doesn't matter what it is.
Oh,
Even
well,
the
sure.
concrete is acting as a coolant. And
Yeah, you I mean, consider the temperature gradient, right? You've
yeah,
got something at 70 million degrees and something that is what maybe ambient temperature of 75 degrees in California,
right.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. Everything is like an ice cube being
Yeah,
dropped into the fusion reaction and cooling it off.
yeah,
And as soon as it cools off, you got no more reaction.
yeah.
And so, that's kind of funny. Yeah, but fusion's going to be a thing. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when and how.
When, yeah. Although I just posted a link to a story, I didn't really take too deep a look at it. That this particular article was saying it's now possible to tap into geothermal anywhere. So whatever that means, if you somebody go check out the link and maybe to tell us what it means. But I thought, oh, that's interesting. Geothermal could be because there you're actually dealing with a controlled nuclear reaction, right? In the molten core of the earth and the radiation, the heat from that slowly moving outward, and we can tap that at a temperature that isn't 70 million degrees. It's more like 500, 600, 700, degrees Celsius. So it's a little bit more workable temperature than 70 million degrees.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's hard to fathom some of this. Owen brings up a point. Yeah, they need tons of helium to be super cold refrigerant in those crazy machines because it's the only thing that won't become solid at 0K. Well, so you use helium to cool off a high temperature gas reactor. So that's a specific type of reactor. Now, when you are using fusion, it actually creates helium. So you have what's funny is I've been working on this project to raise money to produce tritium in a high temperature gas reactor, but because you need tritium to do a fusion reaction, so you need a fission reactor to produce the tritium for a fusion reactor. But because there's a shortage of helium, there's going to be a need for these fusion reactors to produce helium.
To produce a helium, yeah. So we can
Yeah,
have it in our party balloons.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's one right now called helium-3 that's really expensive, and I don't know
Yeah,
what the deal is with helium-3. I haven't really delved into that
yeah,
to really find out. But we were talking about the stock thing here. And so Rivian also had a strong quarter too. Now, they did do a 75 million share offering, which triggered the stock to crater 14%, wiping out most of the prior month's 23% gains. Dilution fears dominate, but they delivered 12,000 vehicles, which beat expectation, and raised their 2026 outlook to 65 to 70,000 vehicles. Quarter two revenue pre-announced at 1.55 to 1.65 billion, up from 1.3 billion. That's a pretty big jump.
That's a big jump.
It's
Yeah.
about 12 to 15%. Capital raise funds for the R2 SUV ramp and Georgia Department of Energy loan requirements. Oh, it's funding the ramping of that and the DOE loan requirements.
Yeah.
Great operational progress, but need cash to scale. Let's see. All right. Bloomberg NEF cuts long-term EV outlook, US and China slowdown. 23 million EVs expected globally in 26, which would be up 11% from the previous year, but long-term outlook downgraded for the second straight year. China is currently 63% of global EV sales, ceiling maturation and stricter incentive eligibility. U.S. sales are down 19% after the federal tax credit rollback and IRA scaleback. Some emerging markets, though. Singapore is at 50%. Vietnam's at 39%. That's a surprising one. Thailand's at 27%. Turkey at 22%. And these are all driven by Chinese brands.
Yep. Yeah, you might. We were going to maybe save this the last, but we could, plug it right now. The lead story. I watched this video today from 2-Bit Da Vinci. It's a channel that talks about energy and EVs and things, and they did a analysis, about 30-minute long analysis of the Chinese EV market and the U.S. EV market and global view of it. And I was impressed enough. I made that our lead editor's pick story just before we came on the air. So if you're looking for some, I think, good insight into what's going on with respect to U.S. and its tariffs and basically embargoing any car that has Chinese, communication technology built into it. I strongly encourage you to go watch the video. It's really very informative, and it's a top story, and it links over to their YouTube channel.
All right, we got more weird news. Lucid's new CEO is shaking up leadership after missing quarter two targets. Wall Street had expected Lucid to deliver 5,000 vehicles. They only delivered 3,953, so right under 4,000, yet they produced 4,700. So they produced about 800 more vehicles than they actually delivered to customers in quarter two. The new CEO, Silvio Napoli, cut direct reports in half, simplifies organization, and forcing accountability. They replaced the CFO. The new guy's name is Alexander Debach. He came from TI Automotive, whatever that is. Let's see.
Texas Instruments?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I doubt it has related to Texas Instruments, but it could be. You never know.
Yeah. Well, Texas Instruments was it was Hughes Electronics, I think, that GM turned to for their original inductive charger for the EV1. But I think Texas Instruments has had a role, if memory serves. And again, I'm old now, but they've had some involvement in EVs in the past. Yeah. I'd have to check it at some point. But
yeah, and I've heard this, that they believe there's helium-3 on the moon, and they want to mine it there, because on the Earth, I know you get helium-3 from the fusion process, and I'm not 100% certain how else you get it, or where you find it, or why they believe it's on the moon, or any of that.
Well, its
But
moon's been constantly bombarded by radiation for how many billion years? So that
mhm,
has to have a impact on whatever minerals make up the surface of the moon. I
mhm.
would think that's probably what's happening is this being generated by that has been generated historically by all of that, unfiltered solar radiation.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. BYD targets the world's largest automaker status by 2031. BYD sold 376,000 vehicles in May, approaching a pace of 340,000 per month, targeting the world's number one automaker spot within 5 years. Seagull remains China's best selling EV at 40,000 units per month, under $10,000. Massive
Oh,
cost advantage over Western rivals.
oh yeah.
Let's
That's
see.
why guys like Jim Farley are, lay awake at night. I think you just think what's going to happen, uh, when the walls finally drop, and they will. The walls will finally drop. The video that I mentioned that you watched, they talk a lot about how to, how we really the car companies need to talk about collaboration. And interestingly, Ford has already had supposedly been reported having conversations with Geely to collaborate on, bringing their technology and manufacturing here in the U.S.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's going to happen whether, in the next 5 years or 10 years, at some point, you're going to see Chinese cars here, probably made from American factories by American workers. So that side's preserved. But, engineering and all that advances probably take place, in China. How we get around we'll probably do a TikTok, right? You can have the electronics made in China, but the electronics have to talk to U.S. servers, right? That kind of a thing. So there will be ways to, I'm sure that we'll get around it, and maybe even just a change in the administrations will encourage some of that. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to be in the part of the UAW at this point. I think there's going to be some changes coming. I hope good ones.
Going to have to be. I mean, I don't think making EVs requires as many workers.
No,
Obviously, it doesn't
no.
require as much for service. And
I mean, you look at the video that, like, for example, on the YouTube video that I referenced, you see how they put those cars together. You don't see any people. They're just
no,
big, massive arms moving in and out and putting stuff in. I mean, there are humans in the process, but fraction
you
I
don't
would
see them.
assume of, yeah, fraction. Um, so that's kind of well, and which reminds me, what was it? The Tom Cruise movie where they're trying to prevent crimes of the future by arresting people now, right? And he drives this Lexus made car, and it's all robots. There are no humans in the factory building this Lexus of what 2052 or something like that. Yeah.
Doesn't seem that far fetched.
No, not anymore. It doesn't.
All right, nuclear energy getting bipartisan boost for grid stabilization. Minnesota lawmakers have agreed to study nuclear plants. The mayor of Memphis, Tennessee, is exploring nuclear for clean, reliable energy. It's interesting. I keep seeing more crap about the XAI data centers that are in the Memphis market, and they're,
Yeah.
people complaining about their gas turbines and all
What
that.
and something like 60 turbines
I
to
don't, I
power
don't know if
that
it's that
thing?
many, but there's more than one facility. I think there might be two or three facilities. So it's not
Yeah.
just the one. But I remember the first one on President's Island having 14 turbines, and that's a lot of power. If those are 25 megawatt turbines, that would be 350 megawatts.
Yeah.
That's a lot of power. That's a
And a
lot
lot
of
and a
power.
lot of and a lot of pollution.
Hmm. And the funny thing is, they're now renting that compute power to someone else, so they're not even
Oh,
using it themselves. I can't remember if it's. I think it's Anthropic is renting it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. 3 advanced reactor designs were on schedule for the July 4th criticality event under the DOE pilot program. Over $1 billion raised in largest nuclear energy fundraising round. Bipartisan support and new tax credits driving nuclear. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about Volkswagen bringing car safety tech to e-bikes.
Yeah,
That was a minority
that's an
report.
interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting. So what the company is called N Plus. They are an e-bike maker, and they have introduced now technology to basically create a field around the bicycle so that the person riding the bicycle is completely aware, video wise as well as I think electronically with lidar. I think to know what's happening around them and particularly behind them when you're on the road. Um, so that's they. I think you can also buy. I think it's AR glasses,
Okay.
that augmented reality glasses as part of the various pieces you can add to this. Expensive.
Yeah, they're
My my my
$5,700.
my very first car that I personally purchased was about the price of what this bicycle goes for in Germany. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
$5,700, something like that.
Yeah. LED
Uh,
brake and turn signals, crash detecting smart helmet, AR smart glasses integration,
Yep.
radar blind spot detection, and handlebar display for cyclists.
Yep.
That's a lot of stuff. I'd be more worried about getting my bike stolen.
Well, yeah, you have, but then again, I bet there's probably an app
Yeah. The bike
somewhere that'll
probably
tell you where the bike is and who has it. And,
the bike probably pedal itself home.
oh yeah, I mean we actually now have self-pedaling erect bicycles
Oh, wow.
that they just they're electric and they pedal and they stay with nobody on board. They self-balance themselves. It's awesome.
I want airbags. They're not
Oh,
spending a
by
penny
the
on
way,
a
did you
bike.
know that Tesla is now selling bicycles?
No, I didn't.
They are selling bicycles to toddlers, and they again, it's one of those limited things like the Tesla tequila and things like that. The Tesla, what was it, blowtorch or something, flamethrower that they had. It's a
Well, that's
limited
from the
thing.
Boring Company. The Boring Company makes the flamethrower.
Yeah. So they got together apparently with some company to make a little tiny bicycle for toddlers to and that one I don't know about 5,000 models or whatever it was. Immediately sold out. I didn't even know about it, and immediately sold out. So they keep coming up with this stuff. Now I don't know if the bike is self balancing or even if it's electric for that matter. It's just pretty simple looking little thing, but.
Let's see. All right. Well, that's all I had I wanted to cover for today, Bill.
Well, that covered quite a bit and we're a little past the 30-minute mark. So
A little
thanks
bit.
to everybody for hanging with us. And again, of course, be sure to check on EV World, particularly our RS stream, which I update daily. Then we typically have anywhere from a low of 20 to a high of 100 stories a day. So um, thanks for
Oh,
stopping in and listening.
Power Wheels. Yep. All right. And I should be back with engineer Mike Herzog on for this Friday. Otherwise, folks, thanks for watching and have a great day.